All right, we've started an app from scratch. We've set up the structure. We brought in the database and built the models and the context file, set up the configuration, got the service set up in the program CS file. Then we created an instance of the database using the context file, and then went to React and built the front end to be able to print out the results. We connected the two together, pulled the data from the API in .NET, and displayed it in React. So we've got a pretty good start here. So we're going to continue on, but before we do, I need to do something important, which is I failed to, in the last set of videos, get this code to Git and GitHub. And I've done a terrible job of modeling this because I'm always just pressing to get to the next thing. But we really ought to be pushing on a regular basis. The benefits come from those incremental pushes that you do that allow you to go revert code incrementally rather than having to go way back to the beginning and then recode a bunch of stuff. If you're pushing on a regular basis, then you have the ability to go back and undo those changes incrementally. And so we want to be better about that. And so I'll do my best to do better. But we definitely need to create a new branch as we move into this next phase of the project. And so I want to get this up to GitHub. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you again a different way of doing it. I'm on my desktop. The project's on the desktop. I'm going to open in Terminal. And if you just pull up a terminal window and you're not there, you can navigate to this path. And then I'm going to CD into that water project folder. And now I'm inside my folder. Now on GitHub, so if I pull open GitHub, and go in there, I can create a new repository to hold this. So again, this is just a different approach than what we've done. So water project and public repo in my case, and then we'll go ahead and create the repository. Now when we do that, it just kind of lists out a few of the instructions. And so if we're working from the command line here, then we can come in and we can say, well, the first thing I want to do is a git init. And so this will create the repository on the local machine for that whole water project folder. So it initialized an empty git repository. And then I can do, it doesn't have it on here, but if I want to stage the files that I want to select, then I can do the git add period. We've done that before, but in Visual Studio or in Visual Studio Code, we've done it in the terminal. Notice we're not in either of those programs. We haven't even opened them up yet. So I can add those files to be staged. It gives me some warnings about some things, but that's fine. Warnings are okay. And then I can do a git commit. I'm going to skip over the add readme, but git commit -m and then whatever the message is. So I can say initial commit here, run that, and it goes in and does the initial commit. And now I have to give it, we only have one branch, so I don't need to figure out which branch it is, but like it's saying here. But what I do want to do is to set up this repository. So I need to do the git remote add origin, and then it gives you the address there, or you can copy it up from up here. Now what I've found is on Windows it likes HTTPS, and on Mac it likes SSH. And so I'm going to grab this. I'm on Windows. I'm going to copy that, and so I'm going to add the origin, the remote origin, to be this repository that I've built online. It sets that, and now I'm ready to push. And so I can say git, and if I'm curious about which branch I'm in, let's see if I can remember how to do this branch. So mine's called master. Yours may be called main. And so whatever one it is, and I don't know why mine's master. So apparently it was called master since the history of GitHub, but that isn't as inclusive. So they changed the name to main in one of the previous versions. I'm on a newer version, so I don't know why it's still using master. And I think actually we can change that. Let me see if I can figure that out real quick. All right, I just looked it up. So we can do git config. If yours is not showing main, we can say git config global init default branch. This is the setting to see what yours is. Oh. Okay, so it's defaulting to master because it came back empty. That's what it's saying. So what I can do is run that same command, but then at the end say I want main instead. And this is just for consistency, so we don't have to guess each time. Now when I say, which Git branch are we? Well, that's for the initial one. So let me show you something else, as long as we're showing stuff here with Git. As I've started to build this, what it's done is in our folder, so if I pull up our folder, just on the desktop here, and I go to desktop, water project, it's built a .git folder there. Now it's a hidden folder, and so on Windows, if you want to see it, you have to click on View, and then Show, and then Hidden Items. If you're on a Mac, there's some special combination of keys you press. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but you can look it up. If you ever need to reset your Git connection, then you can always go in here and delete that Git. And yes, we'll need to rerun the commands now, but that is reset the connection. And so I can come back in, excuse me, come back in here, just like I, start over again. I can say there's no Git repository anymore. I can say git init, and then I can do my git add. I can do my git commit. I can run the origin, which I think it's already set, so this will just tell me it's already set. Well, okay. And then now, let's see if I can run that same command to find out which branch I'm on. And now we're using main instead of master. But the point there is you can always delete this .git folder if you need to reset your Git connection, if something's gone wrong or whatever. Okay, so I think we're finally ready. That was a bunch of stuff I hadn't planned on sharing, but we're now ready to push to origin. And so I can say git push u origin main and hit enter. Now, in my experience in messing around with this, there are some files in there that are still big, and this is a big project. .NET runs big, and React can be big as well, and so this just takes some time. It's super slow. It gets stuck for me on this file 50 and 51, and then it moves a little faster as I've messed around and tested with it. So what I'm going to do is just pause. I don't know how long yours is taking. Maybe yours is done. Maybe it's already done. Mine is going to take a little while. So rather than have you sit here for 20 minutes and watch this tick up, I'm just going to pause, and then we'll come back and create a new branch. And voila, we're done. For me, it took about 18 minutes. And so I think there's some ways we can speed it up. If you go look at, Check AI or whatever, there'll be ways to speed it up. But I just went and got some lunch and came back. And so anyway, which means we're into the afternoon. This could be bad. All right, let's see if we can create a branch. So what we do is we look and see, first of all, we can look and see what branches there are. So if we say git branch, we only have the main branch. And so if we want to create a branch, we say git checkout and then -b for the branch, and then we give it a name. So in my case, I want to call it phase 2. So this is the phase 2. We had phase 1. So, well, in fact, maybe I'll leave that one. Let's create a branch for phase 1 first. And then git push u origin and then to phase 1, all these changes. So everything that's in the local repository, let's push to that phase 1. And then I'll git checkout a branch for phase 2 that we'll start working from. All right, so we switch to a new branch, phase 2, and we can push all these changes to that branch. So git push, but this time I'll do, phase 2. And now we've got that new branch that we can work in. I can see all these branches now by doing git branch, and then we can use the checkout to go to a specific branch, but phase 2 is the one I want to be in now to work in. All right, we'll start work in the next video. Spencer out.